Combs' new album, Fathers and Sons, is out everywhere now, featuring the man he sees in me. And in a new interview with Zane Lowe on Apple Music, Combs broke down, revealing for the first time that he missed the birth of his son while he was on tour in Australia. Now, Combs said he had planned to be home for the birth of his son, but he was born a couple of weeks early, and this is something that's really been weighing on him. Now, this new album from Combs was one he wasn't even sure if the fans would like. He released a statement expressing doubts about that, but the reviews have been really good, saying this is some of the best songwriting of his career. Here's what Luke said at the time. Combs said at the time, "I've been putting out music for over 10 years now. Over time, I've gotten a pretty good grasp on what I feel like my fans enjoy hearing. It's scary to think about changing that, but I've always wanted to grow up alongside my fan base. I've got 2 boys under 2, so my life is dominated by the thoughts of being there for them. I want to be their dad first and foremost. But part of me does wonder, do y'all even want to hear the songs about being a dad? I hope so. But at the same time, I know I could try and recreate the mainstream success of Beer Never Broke My Heart or When It Rains It Pours, and sometimes I selfishly want to do that," he continues. "I just had to do this project though, because being a dad to my boys has been the main thing on my mind lately. I don't want to say this is a side project because it is me and my stuff, but what started as a crazy idea with only a few dad songs turned into me saying we should just record all of them as my next album. I know it's probably not what everyone expected my next album to be, and I get that. I feel the same way in this not truly being like my next album. But being a dad is where life has taken me, and this album is a reflection of that in song form." So in this new Zane Lowe interview with Luke Combs on Apple Music, he talks about the new album Fathers and Sons and what it means to him, how it came together, and then he speaks about how he missed his son's birth, and you can tell how much this really troubled him. He breaks down in tears discussing. Combs told Zane Lowe, "I'll never forget the craziest day, probably in my life, close to it. One of the best and one of the worst days in my life at the same time. He was in Sydney, Australia on August 16th, 2023. And he woke up to a message from his wife, letting him know that she had gone into labor early. He says, I probably woke up at around 8 o'clock a.m. or something like that, Australia time, and I had a text from my wife that said, I'm so sorry. I really tried not to have the baby while you're gone. And God, dude, it sucked. It sucked because he was born on August 15th in the States. I got to see him be born, which was awesome. He wasn't born yet, but my wife went. She texted me on the way to the hospital, and he was 2.5 weeks early, and I was supposed to be home, and I wasn't. That was real hard to do, and I haven't really told anybody that. I didn't cover that too much on the album because it's really hard for me to deal with. Fortunately, Combs said he had a really great support system during the ordeal. He said, God, it was a hard day, but I was so lucky that a lot of my closest friends now work for me, and so I had a really good support system. He added, luckily my mother-in-law came up for the month while I was gone because obviously we have a 1-year-old and my wife is essentially 9 months pregnant at the time. So thank goodness she was there. My sister-in-law lives in Nashville as well, so my wife had a really great support system with her for that experience, which I'm very thankful for. That made it a lot easier. I had people with me, everything went great, no hiccups in the process or anything. He said, it's a defining moment in my life for sure. It sums up in a lot of ways some of the bad parts of the music business, the leaving and your schedule's crazy and you're traveling all over the place. It's not like I can drop everything I'm doing and fly 18 hours home. That's a tough situation for anybody to be in, but at least he was able to video call in. Again, the new album Fathers and Sons is out everywhere now. That's your latest update from CountryCast. Be sure to subscribe with notifications on for the latest news and updates.